not gonna lie, this is actually a bit scary. There was a crazy thunderstorm that's just hit me. And the whole trailer is shaking. I have all the stabilizers down and the tongue jack. I've closed the blind here so that if a piece of debris comes in, you know, hopefully stop it. You know, if the wind, if it picks something up and smashes the glass. Let me check. I wonder if you can tell just how much the trailer's moving. I had the Starlink working, but it's not, I can't connect to it right now. And the trailer was shaking so much and so hard that I actually, it felt like I was honestly moving. And the river is over, you know, maybe like 15 feet from the trailer. So I was actually thinking, I was like, well, maybe, you know, like if I'm gonna hide somewhere, you know, like the bathroom seems like it's sort of the most fortified place to sort of duck and cover, or maybe like cramming my body as much as I can down there. I don't get scared that often. In fact, I love a really good thunderstorm. I was genuinely scared. I've never experienced a tornado before. But if that's what it's like, even by like a tenth of it, that would be terrifying. Honestly terrifying. The wind is so loud. Kind of an argument in favor of the I keep wanting to say the plastic windows, the dual pane acrylic windows, because they in theory shouldn't smash and explode if a flying object came up and hit it. So yeah, that was genuinely scary. And I have the Starlink hooked up. Excuse me, I'm holding a sneeze. I have the Starlink hooked up, but I was updating the name of it and I haven't been able to reconnect to it, so I have zero cell phone reception. I can't connect to the Starlink, assuming it's still up there. I didn't hear it fly away. Yeah, that was genuine. I was outside taking pictures, like the 3-second exposure. I wish there was like a 10-second exposure. I'm sure there is, I just don't know how to do it. And the wind started coming and coming and coming, and I was like, okay. And I genuinely ran for the trailer. I stepped on something. My feet aren't bleeding or anything like that, so that's good. But holy frick, man, that was genuinely scary.
Well, hello and welcome to day 2. And, oh, there goes the sun. Actually, that's kind of nice because it's 32 degrees right now. When I woke up this morning, it was sweatshirt and pants weather. We were like in a cloud, it was mid-teens. Now it's hot. In fact, I'm reminded of that Family Guy character. I think his name's Ollie, the weather forecaster. And they say, okay, you know, now to Ollie with the weather, and he was like, it's hot. Well, it's hot. So, yeah, I pulled over at this absolutely incredible geologic formation here, and I'll zoom in for you because there's a really cool bridge over there. But yeah, we are in Montana right now, and tonight we are going to try to get as close as we can down to Utah with our next destination after that, but that might be another episode. So I'm going to try to actually cut these a little bit shorter, just going to experiment in terms of like video length and what you guys like. You know, again, please let me know in the comments down below. If I'm being honest, usually I kind of aim for like longer format videos. Anyways, I'm going to get out of these pants, put my sweatshirt away, and get a cold drink, and we'll get back on the road, and I'll tell you more about it. Chip. So this is precautionary, I guess, preventative. Behind us, we're just coming into Helena, so we're north of Helena, and between the heat, it's been basically sitting at 35 degrees Celsius. The weight of the trailer, I mean, I've got it fully loaded right now, full tank of fresh, plus you know, enough contents and food and all that stuff for a month on the road. Plus the gearing. So I notice it especially when you're accelerating from a stop. Second to third, I could even notice like when I was just driving around town. And it's most especially noticeable at low speeds when you're trying to get going. But the gearing as well comes into play when we're driving through the mountains like this. So just doesn't have the torque, so the engine's laboring harder to do the same amount of work, which is an interesting segue because it got, well, first I was thinking what I really wish I had was the Mishimoto auxiliary oil cooler. I do intend on putting one on at some point, but I'm not made of money, and I had to sort of pick and choose, you know, which accessories to buy to make the truck and trailer most reliable and all that stuff, right? So suffice it to say, the turbos are working harder because the gearing's that it's like it's one gear off of what it could or should be, right? So the turbos are working more, imparting a lot more heat into the engine coolant, because again, the turbos are cooled with the engine coolant and they're lubricated engine oil, so it's putting a lot of heat into the oil. Well, the engine oil on the EcoBoost is a heat exchanger, so even though they're cooled with coolant, all of that heat still ends up back in the coolant through that heat exchanger. So if we had an auxiliary oil cooler, there'd be less heat being put into the engine coolant, and it would be able to evaporate itself off. So yeah, Mishimoto, if you're out there, I'd really appreciate a little bit of help on this one. My reason for not doing it is because there's a particular other accessory made by Cobb, and I want to mount the oil cooler to the bottom of the Cobb support bracket, which will be the lower support bracket of the intercooler. So we know, and I haven't talked about this on the channel yet, but we know the EcoBoosts are prone to heat soak because the little tiny, albeit deep but still small, intercooler can heat soak on repeated, on a dyno they would call it dyno pulls. You can actually watch it go down. It'll actually decrease the horsepower by up to, I think, 150 horsepower. It's like a third of its output. So Taub makes a factory location replacement that's bigger with a larger core volume. But what is better, for all the reasons, is they make what's called a high mount, or a front high mount. So that goes in front of your cooling stack up in the grill, increases the surface area and internal volume significantly, and you don't get the heat soak. And when I say heat soak, what I mean is the temperature of the air going into the engine gets hotter and hotter and hotter. You know, the higher the temperature air is, the less dense it is, and thus the less power you're going to make. So if we can cool that more efficiently, we can make more power. So right now we're down on power and we're in too high of a gear, and even though we upgraded the transmission cooling and the engine cooling, we're proving that it's still not enough. So for context, behind me, big long hill, I ended up doing like 50 kilometers an hour with the four-way flashes on by the top, because it was like 110, 111, 112. I saw 113 for a half second, and then I with me going super slow, I got it down to 112. So credit where that credit is due on the Mishimoto Rad, because I find that it drops the temperatures really quickly. So that was good, but it was just way too hot. So I got some chips and a cold energy drink. I'm gonna let the girl do as much work as she can to cool herself off, given the 35-degree temperature right now. And we'll hit the road. Coming into Helena, I can see that it's gonna be flat for the next however many miles, and I think we're in a valley after that, between Helena and Idaho Falls. Could be wrong, but anyways, so yeah, lots of learning. Part of the reason why I'm also taking the time to go into as much detail as I am in this video is because the radiator video just came out last week, and like nobody watched it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to tell you what you like and how you want to spend your time. If you're just here for the trip and the adventure videos and me taking this trailer places that most people would never fathom, then I'm happy to have you here. But a lot of those product videos, like the auxiliary transmission oil cooler and the Mishimoto radiator, honestly, I do genuinely believe there's a lot of really good information for people out there, if nothing else, just to know. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've spent this entire, past few minutes telling you about how I've had to financially, manage my budget. So I get it if you don't want to sit there and watch what feels like a commercial. Hey, there we go. But I think there's a lot of really good information about learning about, well, the F-150 in particular, but vehicles in general. So I'm going to take that as my opportunity to hop back in. I'm going to try to get as close to Salt Lake City as I can tonight without burning somewhere. There is a challenge, because once you go south of Idaho Falls, between Idaho Falls and Salt Lake, there are not really a lot of good camping options. So with that, I'm going to get out of this heat and yeah, let's get back on the road. Well, I'm not sure if you can tell, but Costco is behind me, and I was speaking just a moment ago on the hill about allocating funds, and the reason for that is because I just picked up a couple of GoPros. It is my genuine desire and commitment to try to make this channel good and to make better videos, and using the equipment that I have right now is great, and this will just sit alongside it and accompany it. So if you've made it this far in the video, please just click the thumb up button, because it will tell the YouTube algorithm to share this with other people, because gosh darn it, I just spent a whole lot of money that I don't have. So again, thinking about Family Guy means it's isn't that there one about like I am in severe credit card debt or something like that? But yeah, that's feeling pretty accurate right now. Anyways, let's get back on the road and get to camp, and then play with our new toys. So, all right, cool. Let's do it now.
What's the protocol here? What do you do in this situation? Baby's thirsty. Mama's got work to do. I don't think we're making it around. I know you're looking, and that's where I want to go. But oh boy. What do we think here, Mama? Been here for a few minutes. Mama doesn't seem too concerned. Hey, I'm so sorry. I feel really bad. Sorry, little buddies. Thank you. Sorry, thank you. So this is the campground here. We're not going to the campground. We're going to the dispersed area, which is basically next to the campground. But we don't need picnic tables or the fire pit or the water or the lavatories or the parking blocks and all the sort of developed bits that come with it. So let's see, what does this say? Drown campfires, motorized travel management, stay on the trails. Yeah. That's not half bad. Not bad for free, right? I mean, consider that just as we saw coming in, all those sites are paid, and you know they've got crushed gravel and parking curbs and concrete around picnic tables. This is what I'm here for. Gosh, I wish I knew what smell that is. Is it this? I don't know what it is. It's got like a hay-like quality to it, but there's that funk of the forest floor. I don't know. Anyways, as you may notice, I'm not dying of heat because it was 35 the majority of the drive down. It really pushed the truck after we stopped to let it cool down. It hit that temperature again and again and again, and at the very worst I saw 117. Now it was only there for 2 seconds, and then 16, 15, 14 quite quickly thereafter. But yeah, the poor truck, she had to work today. It was 35 degrees Celsius. We had a headwind for a good bit of it, but not all of it. In the mountains, long climbs. It was the long climbs that was doing it. The short punchy ones were all right, but the 3 minutes, 4 minutes, dare I say even 5 minute climbs, it just sitting there getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So yeah, and then of course the gearing, which we've talked about.
But yeah, there's a few things that can and will be done. It's just money, right? You know, yeah. So re-gearing should help, definitely. I have all the parts. I just need to get it installed, you know, at a reasonable price. And, or again, what I really want to do is do the majority of the work myself. I just don't trust myself to set up the gears properly. But yeah, I haven't found anybody that's willing to help with that. So, anyways, yeah, lots that can be done. So, anyways, I'm here. Let's go take a little walk over here because I hear some running water. Oh, nice little trail here. This is cool. Tiny little creek. Dare I say, even a crick. That's cute. Some other folks down yonder, but I thought I'd come up here. This whole area is vacant. I imagine get a bunch of rowdy people in here and it would be horrible, but nice and quiet. Anyway, so I started to say, you may notice that I'm not a puddle of human goo. It's funny because this was the place originally I was going to stop at early, which I guess it still is early. It's like 8 o'clock. It was slow getting on the road this morning. I didn't sleep particularly well last night. Every flash of lightning after that storm was like getting PTSD and thinking, oh frick, am I gonna go through that again? So yeah, there was yeah, like maybe 6-7 hours of sleep, which, you know, who's to complain about that? But that meant yeah, I was waking up when I originally wanted to leave. So fast forward a couple of delays later, and I was probably 2 hours behind schedule. Gosh, honestly, this is the kind of place you could spend a couple of days at, quite frankly. So nice. Won't be much in the way of solar capture, but yeah. Anyways, oh yeah, I keep saying. So I was coming down and I saw a big rain cloud, etc., etc., and you can probably tell, you know, there's dry patches here, and then this is all, you know, it has been rained on. You could feel the dampness, which is like, oh, so nice. I think the temperature right now is like 23, 24. So it's gosh darn perfect if you ask me. I also strategically wanted to stop here because this is one of, if not the only real place that I knew that was going to be forested. So I figured probably there wouldn't be as much light. Oh, excuse me. Breaking through the trees to the forest floor might be cool. And the trees themselves might be perspiring, so emitting like a, you know, moisture into the air, right? So, anyways, I need to set this up here. So, oh, if there's not any more to report, I'm going to yeah, end this video here. I look forward to seeing you again next week in another episode. Thank you so much for watching. I always sincerely do appreciate it. You take care, and bye for now. Let's get this set up.